we'll just do that real quick. It says it has not gone live yet. Okay, you're
Now we're
live.
live.
Now
Okay.
we're live. I think this happened last time
Mm-hmm.
where I minimized it
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like, ah, yeah, by the way, you're not live.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I actually figured that out before we read like a whole, letter. So in case you're wondering what we're talking about, Mary, last time I like minimized the window too quickly for starting the live stream, and so what happened is we were recorded like, well, we didn't record, but we thought we were streaming for like 15 minutes beforehand. Yes, we are live now. And so what happened is we thought we were recording or streaming, but it was not streaming for like 15 minutes, and then like out of the blue, someone's like, "Hey, by the way, you're not streaming," and so we started over.
Well, let's welcome people.
Welcome, Mary. I don't know if anyone else is in the chat here. Welcome to our lovely live stream here. It's so far just you, Mary, and us. So a crowd of three. Some other people hopefully will be joining here soon. So yeah. Well, on that note, since it is 6 o'clock, let's get started. So our first letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for giving my friend's makeup to my best friend's girlfriend?" This one already sounds like it's going to be a great story, right? Throw away for privacy. Sorry for the formatting. I'm on mobile. My girlfriend Jade, 21-year-old female, and I'm a 22-year-old female, have been dating for 2 years. She's a fantastic partner. For a second there, I thought it said fanatic partner. Kind, caring, and loving. Genuinely haven't met someone who didn't love her. My childhood best friend Kevin, a 22-year-old male, recently started dating Kathy, a 24-year-old female, a couple of months ago. Jade is very into makeup, like really. Her makeup collection at this point is probably worth around $10,000. Well, last weekend I hosted a get-together at our place so that we could get to know Katie better. I offered our spare room upstairs so that everyone could have a drink. And after a couple of drinks, Kathy decided to ask to use the bathroom. When she came out of the bathroom, she was holding one of my girlfriend's eyeshadow palettes that she had accidentally left there while rushing to get ready, and was raving about how long she has wanted it. Without thinking, I said she could take it, and
No.
considering that Jade has an extensive collection and probably wouldn't miss it. Jade didn't say anything, but I could tell by her look that she was fuming.
And you didn't do anything then.
And you didn't do anything then. When everyone went off to bed, Jade confronted me and told me off for offering up her palette. I told her that if it was that big of a deal, I could buy her a new one. This made her even more upset, and she said that that was a limited edition palette, so that couldn't even happen, and demanded that I ask for it back. I said no, to ask for an item back is weird, and that I would buy her a similar one. This happened Saturday night, and it's Thursday, and she still won't let it go. She's barely spoken to me since and has been very sulky. Am I the jerk? And then edit, why would you all want my girlfriend to dump me over a mistake? I admit that I messed up, but some of these comments are unnecessarily harsh. And another edit, I'm a woman. Yeah, people tend to do that. And another edit, I'll be asking for it back. Oh. Take the Pokemon cards while you're at it. I don't see how this can be salvaged, and I have thousands. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, just
Yeah.
because you have a lot of something
Doesn't mean you want to give it up. Yeah. Like, and you can't just give your partner stuff away without asking them.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter how many of that thing, like, first of all, you don't understand their priorities. Like, you don't know which palettes matter to her and which ones don't. And then, of course, it's just her stuff to begin with, and you can't just, like, give away someone's stuff.
Yeah, well, I think that's really what I wanted to say, is that she didn't defer to her, partner there. She just was like, oh yeah, take it. She won't mind. She's got tons of the stuff. Which I think was like really poor form. Very, very poor form indeed. All right, let's move along. Oh, Mary says, breaking the pallet would have been a mistake. Giving something away that belongs to someone else is stealing.
Yes.
Exactly, Mary. I can't agree more. It is stealing.
But don't get any ideas about my Pokemon cards.
Oh, Amber wants me to give away her
No,
Pokemon cards. Is
don't.
that what she
Don't.
said? She said give away her Pokemon cards.
No.
All right. I will be reading all of these today. Amber's voice is still not doing great. The allergies have been terrible for poor Amber here. So poor Amber wants to save her voice. Our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Going to the Hospital Instead of My Sister's Wedding Shower? I feel like so much of our families are divided, and I don't know who is wrong and who is right. For context, my wife Lacey, a 32-year-old female, and I, a 37-year-old male, have been trying to conceive since she was in her late 20s, and me in my early 30s. My wife had a very hard time conceiving, and I feel blessed that she wanted to continue trying despite her struggles, and I am happy to say that we have a baby on the way. Well, now on to the troubles. My sister's wedding shower was last Saturday, the night before my wife said that she was feeling uncomfortable, but we thought it was just normal pregnancy pains. So I told her that if she wasn't up to the wedding shower, I could go alone and that she could rest. Well, until about 5 in the morning when she wakes up screaming. I immediately get my stuff together and get my wife in the car and floor it to the hospital. I phone my parents and sister, both not picking up due to the time, and I left them voicemails saying that if my wife had a serious problem, I wasn't going to attend. Well, a couple of hours go by, and I'm informed that I inform them that I'm staying with my wife while tests are being run because she couldn't go through that alone. Ever since then, I've gotten a flurry of texts calling me a jerk and other names that I won't repeat, and some family members completely cutting me off. I stand by my decision that my wife's comfort is more important, even if it makes me a bad guy. But I have to ask, am I the jerk? All right,
No.
folks. All right, folks. What do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, yes, wedding showers are a fine thing to attend under normal circumstances, and you do want to make your family, that part of your family, a priority. But we're talking about a medical emergency.
Yeah,
here.
I think medical emergencies trump.
They trump all the even if it was the wedding itself. Like this is
Yeah.
just the wedding shower. Even if it was the wedding itself,
Exactly.
a medical emergency would still trump that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like medical emergencies are medical emergencies. No one plans for them. If they had been planning this out for like months and just like, oh yeah, by the way, we're not gonna go to the wedding shower, it would be a completely different story. But in this particular case, you know, it's just a mistake. Not a mistake, but
It's an unfortunate thing that happened.
yeah. And everyone else is acting really unreasonably here to say this kind of stuff. And Mary says, not the jerk. Use this as a get out of the wedding drama for free card.
Should be. Yeah.
It really should be. Yeah. It's a pretty ridiculous problem here. All right. Well, let's go on to the next story. So our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for refusing to go to my sister's wedding if she uses her dream wedding planner? And this one's a bit of a doozy. So, I love my mom and sister, but to be honest, they are obsessed with money and status and image. When I got engaged to my now ex-fiance, my mom immediately hired me, the hottest event planner in our city. This woman was hard to get and had done some beautiful events and we had previously attended. She was fine at first, but as time went on, I felt that she was being catty and I really wanted to back out of the contract. But my mom reminded me of how much she had spent and convinced me that it was in my head. Well, lo and behold, a few weeks before the wedding, my now ex had a breakdown about how he couldn't marry me and he was in love with someone else. Now looking back, I had ignored a lot of red flags and he was clearly depressed in our relationship, but at the time I was just shocked. I'll admit that I wanted to be married and ignored a lot of clear signs that he was miserable. He ended up leaving me for the wedding planner. It was a difficult and humiliating time which my mom and sister helped me get through. He said that he had some things which have really impacted my self-esteem long term about how he never meant for this to happen, but he didn't realize how deeply he could feel until he met her. Ouch. That was 3 years ago, and they are currently married. My sister recently got engaged, and my mom went out and hired my wedding planner's business partner. Now they co-own the business, so him making money means her making money. Not to mention, he is close and a personal friend. He literally walked her down the aisle to marry my ex. I expressed to my mom and sister how hurtful this was. They brushed it off and said that he is his own person and not responsible for what she did. I can see that, but I still feel like they are putting up having the best of I still feel like they are putting having the best over my feelings. I finally said that if they continue to work with him, I would not be attending. I know realistically this is ridiculous, but I just don't want my mom giving the homewrecker a dime. My sister cried and said that I was sabotaging her wedding, and my mom thinks that I am being petty. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, there have to be other event planners where you live, like, who are still really good, even if they're not, like, the top of the top.
Yeah. And Mary says, same sister, and then not the jerk. She messed up the last family wedding. Literally. Yeah, well, she did, right? Like, this is like... She literally ruined the last wedding. Well, I think maybe the ex will probably show up at the wedding as well, and that's actually probably a good point. Well, he might not. It depends on if the wedding planner is, how close the wedding planner and their friends are and stuff like that. So it would be a bad situation.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a perfectly reasonable, like, to not attend a wedding that is financing the person, someone who your fiance broke up with you to be with. So
yeah, I mean, I think that that's the important part here, is that the wedding planner, even though it isn't the same person, like, he's not her, but he's close enough, right? He's in the same proximity.
And he supported her in that he literally walked her down the aisle, so he didn't have a problem with what she did.
Yeah, and it sends a pretty clear message about, like, where he stands on this. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Blowing Up My Friend Over Her Allergies Before the Wedding? So, I'm a 26-year-old female, and I've known my friend since elementary school. She has been dating this guy that she met for a while, and they've decided to get married. She asked me to help with the wedding preparations, so I've been going with her to everything. I noticed his place is close, serving food that she was allergic to, deathly allergic. Having it cooked or eaten near her causes her throat to close up with an allergic reaction. Background, I'm Indian. At my house, we always have Indian food. Whenever friends came over, I would ask them if they wanted to try some of the food, but I never forced it. It's spicy and it has different ingredients. I usually would order food or make something simpler. Well, when she came over to my house, I did the same. I'd rattle off what was in each of the dish to see if she wanted to try it, and she told me that she was allergic to things that were in it every single time. I could relate. I had a lot of food sensitivities to fruit and aren't as well while I've never heard of people being allergic to some of the stuff that she claimed, everybody is different. Well, once she started coughing and saying that she felt her throat closing up when my mom had heated up her own dinner. I never have seen my mom move faster to grab Benadryl and toss the food out the door. We wouldn't even microwave food that had her allergens in it after that. I was so freaked out. That was when we were kids. As we got older, I would keep her allergies in mind. As we grew older, I would go out of my way to look up food that I could cook so that she could have a call ahead to the restaurants to make sure that they had food options that she could eat. Well, she was a bridesmaid at my wedding. Her being there was more important to me than the food that we served that day, so I opted to have a Western dinner. This was something that I got a lot of crap from my extended family for. It escalated to the point certain family members said that they would not attend if I did not serve them a decent Indian meal. Not something that I should have cared about, but I was young and my dad passed away not long before that, and I was trying my hard not to lose ties. So back to her wedding. Maybe she had plans on asking for substitute ingredients to be used, I don't know. However, on the day when I was over at her place and talking to her mom, I mentioned that just in case we should have an EpiPen with someone in the bridal party. She asked me who the EpiPen was for, and I said, for blank? But she isn't allergic to anything. I just laughed it off and changed the topic. Well, when I saw the friend later that day, I asked her about it. She just laughed and said that it was just her way of avoiding Indian food. I was shocked. I snapped at her and yelled quite a bit. I just felt so hurt that she could lie about something like this and just to keep it going for years. Not even about the food. I haven't responded to any of her calls or texts for days now. When I spoke to my mom about it, she told me that I should just let it go, that I was risking losing my friendship with her and possibly ruining friends' weddings by refusing to talk. Am I the jerk? Oof.
Not the jerk.
Amber's got to vote for not the jerk. What do you folks think? And Mary says, aha. Isn't the sister nervous about this? That was probably from the last one there. So
like that's I mean, when I was a little kid, I did tell people I was allergic to peppers, like the green bell peppers, because I didn't like them. And I knew people could be allergic to, like, the pepper can make you sneeze. So I was like, I have to tell people I'm allergic to these. But I did that, like, once when I was, like, 11 or something, and I didn't stick to it. And it wasn't at anyone's house, it was at my own house. Because my mom had some peppers, and I tried telling her that I was allergic to them.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the kind of thing that, even if you do that as a kid to get out of things, you have to own up.
Yeah, well, that's just it.
You can't just keep it up indefinitely.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, she kind of felt like, I get the sense that she felt like she was in too deep and just wanted to keep up the lie for that. And Mary says, after the incident with her mom, not the jerk.
Yeah,
that's a good point that I wanted to bring up.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've gone to such lengths to accommodate her, and then have her just laugh, like, oh, yeah, I just don't want to eat your food.
Yeah.
So I pretended to be deathly allergic to this.
Yeah, and Mary says, after all the efforts OP went through, I would say no more, never again.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really hard to justify salvaging this relationship at this point in time, especially since it caused such strain on OP's extended family. And, like, this was all for nothing. If she had just owned up to it then it would have been like easier to deal with, and she could have just been like, actually, all these years I was just immature and I said something, and I apologize for it, right? And she could have made it right then and there. So
yeah, she had some remorse too, like, but it seems like she doesn't see why it's a big deal, and it's like,
yeah, it feels like one of those, 80s sitcoms where somebody, like, keeps something up for such a long time and they just, like, double and triple down on it, and then they keep it up until, like, there's just no possible, and then they're like, actually, yeah. Yeah, lots of relationships down the tube today. Yeah, I guess so. That's the kind of the crux of am I the jerk here, is that these tend to be pretty bad for relationships.
Continuing on the bad for relationships trend.
By the way, this is probably going to continue. It's not going to get any better. We're all going down the tubes. Am I the jerk for getting an entire table for myself after my husband and his mom didn't save me a seat? I'll start this off by saying that I'm a 32-year-old female and I've been with my husband Bob, a 39-year-old male, for 3 years. Married for 1. His mom has a habit of keeping me out of most of their functions with the excuse of, you work too much. Not true, because sometimes I do make myself available, yet I find myself excluded. Well, last week, his mom invited us for a celebratory dinner at a restaurant after she completed her recovery. I had to with that work that day, I think they mean, but I kept her and everyone I let her and everyone know that I would be there at 8 p.m. Bob obviously knew that I was coming. The thing is this, when I arrived to the restaurant, I saw that the table was full. All the chairs had been taken, and I just stood there with a complete puzzlement while Bob and his mom just stared at me. His mom then told me that there was no place left for me, and that I could either have Bob get up and take his seat or go home. I was so upset, but instead of going home, I just went and took an entire table for myself. Bob and his mom watched me, their eyes popping out of their heads like they saw something so shocking. Not gonna lie, I did get some weird looks from guests, but so did Bob and his mom. It was awkward in all honesty. Well, I had my dinner, dessert, and then went home. I saw Bob and his mom staring grudgingly while I was making my way out. He got home an hour later and yelled at me, saying that I embarrassed his mom in front of her guests. I yelled and asking what was I supposed to do after I got denied a seat, and he told me that it wasn't his or his mom's fault. Guests arrived before me and took all the available chairs. I told him that he could have saved me a chair, and he said that I could have just left instead. That's a great solution. That's a compromise. And reminded me that I was a guest and that I shouldn't expect this level of entitlement to be accepted. He then went on about how I ruined the entire dinner for him and his mom and with what I did, and he's been pouting about it for days now. I don't get it. I really don't. Was my expectation really that entitled? I mean, as his wife, he should have saved me a seat, but clearly I'm missing something here. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, but divorce him. People don't invite people to a dinner and then not make sure that there are the appropriate number of seats. She's intentionally excluding you.
Yeah.
She doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
And just coming with nonsense excuses. They could have pulled up another seat.
Yeah.
They could have, getting another table into their little group of tables. There are all kinds of ways, because that's what people usually would do.
Yeah, they'll slide another table over, or they'll, pull up another chair, or they'll ask the waiter for a larger table to be reseated, or they'll make the reservation so that and ask for the right number of chairs to begin with, because they knew she was coming.
Well, exactly. And your husband, he should have, even if his mom is being petty, he should have your back.
Yeah.
And the fact that he doesn't, doesn't bode well, and that he thinks his mom is right in this. It feels more like he's married to his mom than you, OP.
Yeah. Yeah, Mary says, not the jerk. You work too much. Sounds like mother-in-law expected to cut down on work in order to make time to participate. And ruin the dinner for hubby and mom. Mission accomplished. I mean, at a certain point, this was just I don't think that what she did was overly petty or anything like that, but I think
thought it was great.
I thought this was actually a really good way of handling the situation. I think that
telling someone basically to get out and leave, that's gonna cause a scene too. So I don't. She doesn't really have the high ground here, and oh, you're causing all this drama.
Yeah,
it's
And Mary says, who paid for OP? And that's a great point. It's I think OP paid for herself, right? At least that's what it sounds like. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she just, maybe she put the tab over onto them.
That would have been
been even better.
Just next time, get your own table and then slide the bill to your husband.
Yeah, just oh, here, by the way,
dinner.
This is you. This is all on you, hubby. And also, you would think that he would have moved over to her table or something like that to keep her company the whole time and been hey, Mom, I'm going to go join my wife so that she's not actually by herself. You have all your guests here. That's fine, right?
That's what any reasonable partner would have done.
Yeah. Been oh, yeah, there was actually a really
reasonable
big
partner would have just pulled up a chair.
Yeah, a reasonable partner would have pulled up a chair, or if that couldn't be done for some reason, some restaurants are too narrow, or, I don't know. Send this to them. Exactly. Send the bill away. All right. We've got another letter here. And this one's titled, Am I the Jerk for Dropping Out as Maid of Honor in My Older Sister's Wedding? Amber liked this one a lot. And so that's why we're pulling this one in here. Backstory, I'm a 23-year-old female, and I have two sisters, Jenna, 25, Summer, 19, and a brother, Jason, 22. My parents also took in a family member, Rachel, 11, a few months ago. Rachel has been through some stuff. She doesn't talk, and she never lets go of this little stuffed animal elephant. She also follows my mom everywhere. She can't go to school yet because my mom and her therapist agreed that it would be too much for her. Rachel is the sweetest kid ever, though. She's always down to cuddle and watch Disney movies, and she has the cutest smile. I was even allowed to touch her elephant the other day. Jenna has always been pretty difficult of a person. She hasn't lived at home in a while. She moved out for college. She's back home for a few months, then moved in with her boyfriend, now fiance. My parents have been using her room as a guest room, but they never changed anything about it. Rachel has also been staying there. My parents are going to adopt Rachel, and they want to turn Jenna's old room into Rachel's new room. They told Jenna that they're turning her old room into Rachel's room, so she needed to come through and get her stuff, and decided what she wanted to keep and what she was going to donate/throw away. Jenna said that they can find another place to put Rachel and that she's not giving up her room. It's not how that works. Yeah. My parents said that they already made the decision, and Jenna made an ultimatum. Either our parents keep her room the way it is, or she goes no contact. My dad and I packed up all of Jenna's stuff into boxes and put them in an empty garage. We painted Rachel's new room and put together furniture and filled the closet with new clothes and toys. We even built in a snack bar. Rachel loves it. She's been starting to stay in her room more. Before, she would only go in her room if she needed a change or sleep. And I'm pretty sure I heard her talking to her new elephant. Not as good as talking to a person, but we'll take it. The problem is now Jenna and my parents are in a huge fight. Jenna went no contact and invited my parents from her wedding in retaliation. My parents announced that they wouldn't pay for half of the wedding anymore, and they're not going to pay the down payment on the house for Jenna and her fiance their wedding present. This has caused Jenna to call them abusive and neglectful to anyone that'll listen. I was supposed to be her maid of honor, but I can't believe she's acting like this, so I dropped out of the wedding. So now Jenna is even madder, and her fiance is saying that the entire family is being cruel to her. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
And, oh my goodness, Mary says, not the jerk. So, yes. Yeah.
I mean, like, I understand the appeal of your childhood bedroom. Like, I liked having mine when I was a kid, even after, but now it's my mom's studio. I moved out. I don't have any claim to it anymore.
Yeah, well, I just don't see how she could possibly be attached to her old room like this at this point in time. It's like, you've not even been living in here. Just come and get your stuff.
And, like, it would be maybe one thing if they had, but they have, like, an actual person who needs that room, who's living in the house. And they're like, no, you just need to find somewhere else for that actual person who's living in the household.
Yeah, which I think is just completely entitled. And I love how she's turning this in on all of them being like, oh, this is, you're being entitled now, and you're being neglectful. And it's just like, no, this is not how anything works. They're not kicking you out on the street. It's not like they kicked you out of the room to make room for someone else. They waited for you to move out. And plus they were gonna put a down payment on a house for them. Like, you don't even need the room at that point in time.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And Mary says, packing into boxes is nicer than I would have reacted. Yard sale. Tell your sister that you will be maid of honor for Rachel.
Yeah, well, I mean, OP and her parents are being really awesome and supportive to Rachel. So that was why I really like this story. But I just can't believe just how Jenna is being like, you have these people who are paying for your wedding and the down payment on your house, and you're just going to uninvite them because they redid your childhood bedroom.
Yeah, how did she think things were gonna go down? She just thought she could, punch above her weight, so to speak, and it turned out that was not the case. She thought that she was gonna strong arm them into this, and it didn't work that way. So I have no sympathy for her. I think that she's just not a very nice person. All right, let's move along to the next one. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Caring for a Child That I Said That I Wouldn't Care For? Oh, and the fiance should be worried for the last one. Yes, exactly. So throw away for privacy. I'm a 28-year-old female and I'm child-free. I don't even really like kids. My sister, a 23-year-old female, Amber.
Not me. I'm not 23.
Yeah, she's like 21 or something like that.
Yeah, I wish.
Has a
Not
kid,
really.
and because it's pretty close knit family, she's pretty used to everyone pitching in to help. She said that she was going out for a few hours and was stopping at my house to pick up a package delivered to me by mistake. We have the same street number on a similar sounding street. Think 25 Hirsch and 25 Hurst. So this happens pretty often. When Amber got to my house, she put down her kid and said, "Thanks for watching him, by the way." I asked what she was talking about, and she said that she was thanking me for watching her kid as well. I said that I never agreed to it, and that was not okay, and I wasn't okay with that, but she said, "We're sister, and family helps family," and ended up leaving. So I didn't. I left the kid right in my entryway where Amber left him and just went about my day. I didn't leave the house or anything, but I said that I'm not a babysitter and I wasn't one. Well, Amber got mad when she came back 4 hours later and the kid had a diaper full and was crying when he saw her. I had told her that I wasn't watching her kid and she was lucky I didn't call the police. But Amber said that not wanting to babysit doesn't mean you don't do it. The entire family sides with her and says that she's cutting me off until I apologize and make more of an effort with my nephew. I've gotten some nasty messages from relatives galore, and the only one who doesn't think that is bad, that I'm bad, is my dad, who doesn't involve himself in family drama. I do love my sister, and I understand that family is family, but am I really the jerk for not doing a job expressly said that I didn't want to do? Oh my goodness.
Everyone's a little bit of a jerk here. Like, you're well within your right to say you're not going to do it, OP, but then just make sure your sister take the kid, or if she gets out too fast, call another family member.
Yeah.
Or call the police. It's not ideal, but
Yeah.
you can't just leave a kid unattended for 4 hours.
Well, exactly. The first thing that OP should have done is texted her or called her and said, "Listen, I'm going to call the police if you're not here in 20 minutes." Right? Or if you're not back here, I'm gonna call the police and I'm going to not tolerate this. So I think that that's really where they should have gone. And Mary says, "Not the jerk, not the jerk, not the jerk. Not wanting to babysit doesn't mean you don't do it. In what culture?" I mean, that's the important thing here too.
Yeah, Amber's very much in the wrong for just dumping a kid on you. Like, you can't just be like, "Oh, here's a kid, babysit, thank you."
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works.
Well, I think her cutting them off is probably a good scenario here anyways. I think that actually gives them a chance to, cool down a little bit and not drop them off again like this. Because, poor OP here does not want to be a babysitter, didn't want to do this job, but they were essentially forced into this. I just really think that they should have made more of an effort to find another place for the kid. Yeah, I can't find a fault for OP not wanting to change a diaper. She warned and checking on it. Well, I guess it depends for me, if the kid had needs and was neglected. So I don't know how long you can keep a kid. How long that is an acceptable period of time for leaving a kid unattended. So checking in on it, if she was checking in on the kid and making sure that they were fine and whatnot, that's a different story. But not going out of their way to change the diaper and whatnot, I can certainly not blame them for that. That's not the issue where I draw here.
Yeah, but I definitely think that OP probably should have called another family member, and been like, "Hey, get this kid. I'm not watching him."
So I just worry about the kid's safety is all. Mary says, "I'm just a curmudgeon." You're not a curmudgeon.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do this, but I would if someone dropped a kid off at the door, I'd be like, "Brian, deal with it."
I would become the de facto babysitter at that point in time.
Brian, there's a small child here. I don't know what to do.
All right, let's move on to the next story. And this one is also another down the tubes relationship one. Oh no. Am I the jerk for getting angry when my partner announced that she's pregnant? My partner, a 34-year-old female, and I, a 28-year-old male, have been together for 5 years. She has a daughter, 8, from a previous relationship. Right off the bat, it was made known that I had fertility issues and likely wouldn't ever be able to father a child. I moved slow in the relationship, although I had fallen in love with her fast. When things got serious, I overheard her telling her sister that she was concerned that I might be the aggressive type person because of the amount of scars I have. I didn't want to scare her away, so I told her that I had a bad childhood and left it at that. Well, a little over 2 years into our relationship, I felt somewhat comfortable in opening up, and for the first time I told her exactly why I am infertile, which is a direct result of an injury I suffered due to trauma as a child. She was really empathetic, and I was just thankful that I had found one who wanted to spend my life with, and also came with a kid that I adore. Well, fast forward last summer. My parents and her friend decided to play an impromptu prank on me. I came home from work and there were multiple positive pregnancy tests in the bathroom. My partner announced that she was pregnant, and I started freaking out, a happy freak out, because I thought that I had hit the lottery with a slim chance that I had. They both started laughing. The tests were from the friend and not my partner. Poor form. Very, very poor form. I was pretty much devastated and felt like I was just reading Mary's comments. The tubes are getting clogged. I wasn't laughing at this. I thought I had to justify that laugh there for a second. I was pretty devastated and felt really let down that my partner would actually pull a prank like that. At first, she was shocked by my reaction and said, "I thought you knew that it was a joke considering your circumstances." And she ended up apologizing, realizing how hurt I was. Now for the point of the post. 3 weeks ago, she arranged a huge dinner with her entire family at our house. She had us play this stupid mystery game and ultimately announced to everyone that she's pregnant. Her mother and sisters were deliriously happy. I immediately got mad thinking this was yet another prank, so I showed no emotion, which everyone caught on to. I said to my partner, either you're just mentally disturbed or you're cheating. That pretty much was when all the nonsense broke loose. My partner's point of view is that she was sincerely apologetic about the prank and that I should have known her well enough to think that she would ever pull that stunt again. She's also livid at me for ruining the announcement, embarrassing her in front of her entire family, causing them to think that I'm a horrible person, and finally insinuating that she's a cheater. I still stand by my claim that if she had never pranked me, my reaction would have been different. I do find it odd that she decided to tell me along with her family. Things would have likely gone over better if she had just told me first, and then we would have announced it together. But I'm starting to think that I acted immaturely, causing a scene in front of her family, and I think maybe that's where I'm wrong. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
Oh... And Mary says, prank foreboding and not the jerk. We knew it was a joke. I would have jumped to the conclusion of affair. Like
the thing is, there are things you don't joke about. Mm-hmm. This is very much like a boy who cried wolf type of situation. Yeah. Like, if you already know there's a slim chance and you pull this before and, like, it just... No, and again, why didn't she just tell OP up front and they announce it together? That's typically, usually you tell your partner and then you together do an announcement. She had him in the dark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mary, paternity test at ASAP. This might actually be a tactic. Think about this, right? If she's if I get him to blow up on me, then he's going to be reluctant to ask for a paternity test because then it's going to be some kind of drama here, right? So it might actually be kind of a manipulative tactic for her to kind of preemptively stop him from asking for a paternity test. Maybe that's a 4D chess move here. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit for that kind of line of reasoning. But skeptical curmudgeon. Mary is skeptical as well.
Yeah, well, even if it's legit, she was just treated him so badly in this situation. You don't pull jokes like that. And if you have a history of pulling those jokes before, you make sure your partner is well aware that you're not joking this time around.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mary. So I think that's the key, is she should have included them in the conversation ahead of time and been look, we're pregnant. This is a great time to tell you, and then we can have a party and tell our families, right? So yeah. All right, let's move on to tea time real quick. You know, I'll sip on some tea. Amber's got a joke all picked out for us. I've got some tea. You know, Amber's got some tea. Amber has her classic mint tea.
What is full of holes but holds water?
What's full of holes but holds water? A sponge, isn't it? I think I've heard that one before. I didn't just come up with that answer off the top of my head.
What can you use for cleaning your teeth, blowing your nose, and keeping the rain off?
I know there's a really silly joke punchline here. What's that?
A toothbrush, a handkerchief, and an umbrella, respectively.
Oh no. Mary has Diet Coke. You're guessing licorice spice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mary. I have mega mint tea today. All right. It was a good one. It really was a good joke. Thank you, Amber. Thank you. All right, let's move on to another story here. We've got this one here, and let's get into it. Am I the jerk for speaking Italian to my girlfriend's rude Italian-American family and embarrassing them? Edited to add, there may have been some confusion. Well, actually, we'll read the edit later. So backstory, due to my dad's job, we lived in Italy for 3 years when I was younger, so I speak Italian almost fluently. It's been a while, and I've lost some of it. Oh, and hi, Jot. He just popped in. Yes, it's Friday. Recently, I started dating a girl, and she's great, and I love her so much. I met her family a few nights ago for dinner. She warned me that the male side of her family is very big into macho and into testing boys the women date, and are very big on taking pride in their Italian ancestry. I think besides my grandfather, however, they were almost all born in Bergen County, New Jersey. But whatever, it's nice to take pride in one's heritage. Well, long story short, they kept making jokes at my expense. I honestly would not call it bullying, just things about my height, beard, shaved head, etc. They tried making fun of my IT job too, but stopped once I told them my income. I was overall not a bad experience, but it wasn't so pleasant either. Anyways, her older brother kept pushing things, giving me exceptional amounts of nonsense for playing lacrosse in high school. Apparently, it's a sport for prissy rich kids and not manly like football or baseball. He ended his rant by saying, "Hey, we're just a big Italian family. We're loud and like to tell it how we see it. Ha 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 ha." He sounds obnoxious. And all the family except my girlfriend laughed. So for the next minute, I responded to everything they said in Italian. My girlfriend buried her head in shame. The grandfather laughed, and everyone else kept looking at each other confused before telling me that they didn't speak Italian. I replied, then don't use your Italian heritage as an excuse to behave poorly when you can't even speak the language. They got mad, but then the grandfather told them all that I was right and to be quiet. I like the grandfather. My girlfriend isn't mad, just ashamed. I think her grandfather likes me, but word from my girlfriend's sister is that all the men are furious and think that I'm smart and that I disrespected them and their masculinity in an unforgivable way. Am I the jerk?
All right, now you get the edit to add.
Oh, now we'll do the edit to add. Thank you for reminding me. There has been some confusion as to my girlfriend's reaction. She was ashamed of her family that they dug so deep into me, not about my response. After wanting to die for the next 48 hours, she agreed that I did the right thing and that it was funny. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to say not the jerk.
Oh my goodness. And Mary says, lacrosse can be rough, not the jerk. What a brilliant move. And grandpa. Yeah. It was good on grandpa. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your assessment here?
I mean, you know, like these guys, they're talking tough, and Opie essentially like they're trying to. Oh, this is just how Italian guys are, and so like,
yeah.
Opie's like, oh, you're Italian. Let's talk Italian.
Yeah,
like...
yeah. Tell the guys that it's part of your WASP heritage and get over it. Well, that's just it, is that, if you're going to embrace a culture, then you should at least learn about that culture. And it sounds like the only thing that they like about this culture is whatever preconceived notions they have about it. And they just use it as an excuse for their bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't use a culture or previous cultural experiences to excuse bad behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, culture is one thing, but being rude is another thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people have, different cultures, and there are certainly things that are rude in one culture that aren't rude in another culture. But I think that the way they're approaching this isn't so much a cultural thing as it's just like we can
Right.
excuse our, jerk behavior by claiming that we're Italian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they do have Italian heritage. I'm not saying they don't, but it's just not a good excuse or way of handling that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts there. All right. We've got a couple more stories to go through here, but I have to start watering my throat because I'm starting to get my little scratch on my throat here. Am I a jerk for not wanting my bonus daughter to sleep in the same bed as their father? I'm a 25-year-old female and I'm 32 weeks pregnant, and I have a lot of difficulty at night because of the pregnancy. I'm already on bed rest because of complications, and I stay exhausted. My boyfriend, a 42-year-old male, has 4 kids, and we get 3 of them every other weekend. I love these kids with all my heart, but they really test my patience at bedtime. The girls, 10 female and 7 female, always want to sleep with their dad, and when they do, there's no room for me and my growing belly. I usually end up having to sleep on the floor or the couch because the girls, and it's getting very painful. I told them this tonight, but the youngest one, a 7-year-old female, went ahead and stayed in the bed with her father and fell asleep after he did. I tried to go to sleep on the mattress or on the floor, but it was not comfortable at all. I'm currently on the couch and I'm already feeling cranky. These little goblins ignored me. And when I told them to throw away their Burger King trash 6 hours ago when they finished eating early dinner, tomorrow is not going to be a good day. I can't sleep. I'm in lots of pain and I'm very moody from hormones. I'm starting to not even want to be here anymore when they come over. They always fight. They have to tell multiple times to clean up after themselves, and I find takeout containers and dishes hidden under the bed when they go back to their mom's house. Am I the jerk, or are these pregnancy hormones making me crazy? Oh no. Oh no. Poor OP.
One word. Divorce.
Like, I think they're not even married,
no,
so.
she says her boyfriend.
Boyfriend
yeah, okay.
of 42, yeah.
Break up with this dude.
Yeah.
Like, what does he do? Like, he's not disciplining his kids in any way. It sounds like OP's doing literally everything while they just run rampant while she's 32 weeks pregnant and on bed rest.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is not a partner.
No, exactly. And Jot says, why are these kids still sleeping in the same bed as their father? They're old enough to have their own rooms, and a pregnant woman shouldn't be sleeping on the floor because the father is useless.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary says, not the jerk. Discomfort aside, this is an issue that can come back to haunt both OP and the dad. Wow, the trash sounds horrid. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, what does this guy do for you, OP? Well, and he's also 17 years older than OP, too.
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't really take note of that.
I just noticed that this time.
But, the thing is that I think he is just really, really needs to put down his foot and tell these kids that they need to sleep in their own beds. And, the wrong word from the wrong person can put them in the wrong side of CPS. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So I think that this is certainly a very questionable situation. And I feel bad for OP because she needs to be getting as much sleep as she can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already hard enough from what I understand about pregnancy. I have never been pregnant myself. But from what I understand, it's very difficult to sleep when you're pregnant. And you don't get a whole lot of sleep. And so I think that she just needs as much sleep as she can get, and not to have it interrupted like this.
Right. Well, and he should be going out of his way to make things easy for her because she's on bed rest and, not doing very well.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally on bed rest. She needs the bed rest. She needs the bed. He can sleep on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he not sleeping on the couch? Like, this would solve all of the problems. He needs to. He really needs to sleep on the couch. So yeah, more relationships down the tubes. All right. Speaking of relationships down the tubes, I guess we really picked a good pack today, right?
Divorce.
Another divorce. Am I the jerk for wanting my husband to do the dishes? A little backstory here. I can't seem to get my husband to help with the cleaning. I wish he could stop helping, not helping. Yeah. He is great at daily things like garbage and normally the dishes. However, I can't get him to help with the actual cleaning like mopping, showers, toilets, vacuuming, cleaning the counters. I've tried multiple methods to get his help. I even went with him and told him that I feel like he doesn't help me with the actual cleaning and asked what I can do to get him to help me more. And he said having a list helps so he knows what needs to be done. So I tried the list. It was too much for him, and he said, and that it started an argument. There were only 6 things on the list to do. Then he said that we could do chores together, like scrub the shower together at the same time. And that led to fighting due to being in each other's way. Anyways, nothing has worked from getting more help from him. I decided that it was easier to do it all myself to avoid fights. Then the issue was that I had the cleaning to do on the weekends when I should be spending time with him. I do not have enough time during the week to do these kind of chores. I straighten up, but I don't have time for the actual cleaning. Anyways, his mom is coming into town today. I have a toddler, and the house is in a mess. I started a cleaning routine yesterday, and he said that there weren't that many dishes to do, and that he would do them the next day, today, while our son napped. Fast forward to our son's nap time. I asked my husband, and I quote, "Could you get those dishes done for me real quick so I can mop the floors?" Immediately he responds asking what the dishes have to do with mopping the floors and started an argument. I work from home full time, so I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I just work as many hours a week as he does. To do any cleaning yesterday and today, I had to ignore my job, which is risking getting in trouble. This is particularly risky because I make almost twice as much as my husband does, and we cannot risk me losing my job. Here's where I'm coming from. I'm not asking or even expecting him to help with anything else, just dishes. He does not work today, and he spent the entire morning on the couch scrolling on his phone. It was 12 p.m. by the time I asked for the dishes to be done. Again, I'm supposed to be working today, and I'm ignoring my job to get stuff done, specifically so that he doesn't have anything to do.
And it's for his mom, too.
Yeah, it's for his mom, too. I feel like because I'm doing everything else, that out of appreciation for that, he could just get up and do the dishes. I feel like he shouldn't argue and just do it because I asked. I don't see why my reason behind it should matter. Besides, he said that he would do them for me during our son's nap time. Why procrastinate any longer? He's now mad at me, saying that I'm barking orders. He says that I should have just accepted that he didn't want to do them right then and left it alone. I don't feel like I should have to wait on him when I'm doing everything else and I already waited until our son's nap time like he wanted. So am I the jerk?
No, but divorce. Like, what does this man do for you? He doesn't clean. He works a job, but you bring in twice as much as he does, so
Yeah.
you can probably support you and your kid just fine.
Yeah. And Mary, Mary says, down the drain for now. And then, this is why couples should live together first, set ground rules, and make decisions before tying the knot. Yeah, I think that's very sensible. And not the jerk, too bad OP didn't record his promise, yeah. And watch mom blame OP. Dogs bark for a reason, so does OP. And, it sounds like she's even just approaching this very reasonably. Doesn't even sound like she's being mean-spirited about it. Like, I just don't understand why he can't just pull his own weight.
Because if he throws enough of a fit, he'll do it for him. And that's really what it boils down to, is like, he's one of those people who OP has gotten in the pattern of, well, anytime I ask him to do something, it starts a fight, so I'm just going to do it because it's easier. Yeah,
this is ship settling, right? So the thing is, like, if you have, like, a rocky ship, like, and someone who's rocking the ship, basically there are ship settlers who will do everything they can to make sure the ship doesn't, rock too much, right? So if he goes left, she goes right, so that so the ship doesn't cause too many waves, right? But the thing about it is that if she just lets him capsize the boat, then everyone goes overboard, right? So he really needs to be told no. He really needs to be told that he's going to pull his weight, or otherwise OP is going to divorce him. Like, he's not worried about OP divorcing him, and he should be. And he really needs that threat of being divorced, I think, in order to start pulling his weight. He just sounds like, what's the term? The malicious incompetence? I don't remember.
Weaponized incompetence.
Oh, weaponized incompetence. Like, this sounds like weaponized incompetence. Like, every single time OP goes out of their way to basically try to help make the situation better for herself, it's just too much for him. So I really think that this is just a terrible situation for them. So, OP, divorce. Yeah. And oh, bravo on the ship comparison. Yeah. Thank you. So I read a post about it a little while ago. So it's not like a novel idea that I came up with, and I probably summarized it poorly, but it gets the point across. So I think we're at the end here. I think that's all the time we have for today. Thanks you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed having your commentary here, Mary and Jot. Thanks so much for joining us. And let's see if there are any others. Oh, I think Jot must have dropped out at some point in time. So thanks for joining us, Mary. We enjoyed having you.
Thank you for joining us.
I would read some more, but unfortunately, I think I'll lose my voice if I do that. So, yeah, I guess we will see you on the next time. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. So, yeah, it was a whole hour, power hour of Reddit stories. I think these ones were pretty good. These were a pretty good batch, all in all. So we'll thank you again for joining us, Mary, and we'll have to see you here soon.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, and Jot's back. Bye, Jot. Oh yeah, happy Friday.